an actual Airbnb landlord, Mauro Di Porzio, on the line. Hello, Mauro.
Hi, Pat. How are you?
I'm very well. You bought one property, is that right? You've got a single property?
I did, yeah. I had just one investment property in Dublin myself, yes.
Yeah. Now, you use this as an Airbnb offering?
I do. All the time, yeah, for the last 4 years.
Yeah. And you don't live in it yourself?
No, I live in Pakistan myself. I live 40 minutes, north of Dublin, so I go up and down to get the house, the apartment sorted for guests and so on. And
is there any issue on planning? Has anyone approached you and said, no, you shouldn't be doing this?
No, not at all. Actually, every neighbor there is very happy. I didn't have any complaints from my guests in 4 years at all. They're all families and decent people who just come here for the laugh and, to go around Dublin and all.
Have you had any difficulty at all with Airbnb guests?
Not at all. Zero. Never had any issue, never had any damage, really. Just, minor things like, they might have spilled something, but nothing really that was done, in purpose or for bad behaviors or things like that. Yeah.
Now, you bought the apartment when, I suppose, the recession was in full swing.
Exactly. It was closed the sale. It was December 2012. I had another property in Milan. I'm from Milan originally, and I sold it exactly for the reasons what you were saying before. So I had a long-term tenant there, and the law there works a little bit like here, so I wasn't protected at all, and issues with the long tenant, and I had to go to court to get him out and all these things. So when I got that sorted, I decided to sell, and since it was a good time here to buy, I decided to buy here and start something different.
Now, you also run a couple of websites, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So when I started to do this, this Airbnb thing with my own apartment, it was just like, for myself. Then obviously I come from the tourism sector originally, so that's where I worked most of the time before starting this. So when I approached this world, I learned a lot by doing it for myself, and then I started my own business in the very same area, and I help as well fellow hosts to get more bookings wherever they may be, not just in Dublin, which is called bookingallin.com. So through this service, we just help them to get more bookings, Airbnb or other websites. That's just provide the same service essentially.
So you have two websites, bookingallin.com and stayallin.com.
Bookingallin.com is more let's say it aims to explain to hosts the service that we can provide to them, and stayallin.com it would be the website where we advertise these properties essentially to get us.
Would you advise other people who've got properties to go into Airbnb rather than long-term letting?
Oh, definitely. So, for a few different reasons. First reason is that, as I said before, you have much more flexibility, to manage your property. So, if you want access to this, you can have access whenever you want. If you want to sell it up, you can do it whenever you want because you're not tied into, long-term.
Okay, so if this thing, if you have a long-term property, the only way you can sell it, the only way you can get rid of a tenant would be to hand it over to a family member, or if you're selling it. But you're saying if you needed it for a family member who was studying in Dublin, for example, you can just immediately convert it for them back to a long-term situation.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it is. You just check your calendar, the bookings that you may have for the next few months, and then when an issue arises where you may need your apartment for any reason, for yourself, for someone coming to visit you, or for your children that need to go to study to Trinity College or whatever, you can have access to the property and do whatever you want yourself. So that's one big thing for me. And the other thing is, you were mentioned this already before when you were talking earlier to the TD there, is that you may have much less issues in terms of maintenance of the apartment because you always have access to it. Guests tend to stay a few days. They don't really do much.
Okay, so even if they do damage, because you inspect it, you immediately put it right. So
exactly. You're always there, so nothing can happen really because, if something happens, you can see it, you can fix it straight away, and it doesn't deteriorate in months.
Kira has a question. How do the Airbnb people manage for fire insurance and public liability insurance? When we had a 4-bedroom bed and breakfast, we were crucified for this insurance.
Yeah, you have to shop around. It's not very easy to find providers who are willing to cover you when they know, obviously, that you're running the property through short-term lets or things like that. But there are a few providers there. So you have to make sure, you have to understand exactly what's included first in your maintenance fee for your blocks first, to see what's covered there, and then anything else that is not covered there, you need to find the provider and pay for extra third-party liability and things like that.
All right, right, Mauro. Well, thank you very much for your experience as a successful Airbnb landlord. All right, some of the comments coming in. Why doesn't the local authority incentivise landlords to